This weekend were the 77th annual Emmy Awards, and Andor did something that no other Star Wars show has ever done. Dan Gilroy was on hand to accept the Emmy for Andor, and no, they didn't win Best Drama. That instead went to The Pit, an ER-centered show based in Pittsburgh that didn't even have a single Pittsburgh accent as part of the show. No, this Pittsburgher isn't angry at all.
We ain't got Sleepless in Seattle. We got pissed off in Pittsburgh.
I thought when this came down to it, I thought these Emmys were going to come down to Severance and Andor, seeing who would win the best drama. But I think the fact that Andor and Severance were both more social commentaries than anything else about our world today, both very powerful in my opinion, I think the popularity of just the ER-based show, which we haven't seen any of those ever before. That's a brand new concept. Even though Andor didn't win for Best Drama, it did something no other Star Wars show has done before. It won for writing. Particularly, it won for a specific episode. Now, I didn't know this until I looked closer at the Emmys, but basically what happens in the Emmys category for writing, you have an episode of a show that's nominated or put up. It's not the entire season, the way that the category for Best Drama is just for the entire season of that show. So the episode that was put forward for Andor was episode 9 of season 2, Welcome to the Rebellion. If you remember, that's the episode where Mon Mothma gives her speech in front of the Senate.
And what is known to be true has become an abyss.
Which it's wild to me that they're going to put that as the best writing episode, yet Genevieve O'Reilly is not up for any Emmys. It's absolutely insane. I think there are so many examples of Andor's great writing throughout the season, much of which came to fruition in this very episode. Which, if I'm being completely honest, I didn't think anything could top episode 8, the Gorman Massacre. But man, the Welcome to the Rebellion episode was a close second of my favorite episodes of the entire season. And I think the reason why this episode was put forward as the one to be nominated for Best Writing, because all of the writing work that had been done in the entire show really kind of finds its culmination here in episode 9. Now, you might be surprised to hear me say this, but the critics of Andor actually get one thing correct.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And it's this flaw that Tony and Dan Gilroy end up turning into their greatest strength, and why we're sitting here talking about them winning an Emmy for writing. When Andor the show was first announced, people questioned why make a show about a secondary character from a one-off movie, and why include the backstory to an original trilogy character who had very little screen time. Cassian is a nobody, and Mon Mothma isn't exactly the most well-known character either. However, instead of writing these two to be the heroes right away, the ones who get it right all the time, who have zero struggle, they instead embraced the struggle. And even after the ratings for season 1 were not as high as people had hoped, people complained about there being too slow and methodical of a pace to the show, Tony and Dan Gilroy stayed the course. Yes, season 2 does open with a little bit of action, but more importantly, they don't sanitize the struggle. Instead, they lean into it. You see, the difference between okay and phenomenal writing comes down to character transformation. How are you able to progress your characters in dynamic and extreme ways while at the same time making it flow seamlessly? The secret is in the struggle. Real change happens in the mess. The struggle creates meaning. And from the beginning of season 2, the struggle is clear. The messiness of it all just keeps getting worse and worse, and our characters grow as a result. Just look at all of these characters. Each and every single one of them is in a mess. Cassian, Mon Mothma, Luthen, Clea, Vel, Brasso, Bix, Dedra, Cyril, they are all in a struggle and they all fail. That is so crucial to their character development and the writing that we see. And when everything opens up in season 2, what do we start with? We start with Cassian attempting to steal and get away with this TIE Avenger prototype, and it all just kind of fails at the beginning. He doesn't know which way is forward and backward and up and down. It's not the ship he was thinking he was going to be taking. And it puts him in a series of events where our supposed main character is kind of off, stuck on this side mission while every other character has to figure out what to do. And immediately after that, where do we jump? We jump to our main second character who the show is kind of seen through, Genevieve O'Reilly's Mon Mothma, as they're preparing for the Chandrillan wedding that we knew of from season 1. And the wedding is just kind of a mess as we start to see Luthen showing up and Tay Colmer is there and all these other things swirling around, unsure of what's going to actually happen. But what happens if you remove this struggle? What happens if you remove this mess? You actually end up killing the story completely. But everyone knows this. Everyone from the amateur rookie screenwriter all the way to the Academy Award winning writer knows this very thing, that your tension is built in this struggle. So why does Andor stand out? Better than anything I have ever seen before, Andor is able to take all of these characters and perfectly set them on their own arcs that don't just exist in a vacuum, but instead are woven perfectly into a grand tapestry that comes together in a beautifully detailed and natural way. And that's what is happening here in episode 9. All of the dominoes are falling into place. We've just had the Gorman Massacre, which in our minds we kind of built up and thought that this is going to be the climactic episode of the entire season, when in reality it was all setting up Mon Mothma's speech on the Senate floor, the beginning of the rebellion, the moment where Mon Mothma is now all in on the rebellion. She can't turn aside now. It's only moving forward for her.
I'm not sure I can do this.
Welcome to the rebellion.
I think one of the best marks of great writing is its ability to be invisible, to be able to put all of these things in motion in a way that you almost don't even notice. The subtlety of a line here, the writing of dialogue over here, the setup of a scene meticulously crafted and set up and planned, all to get everything just exactly right so that our characters will transform through the struggle they're experiencing. And somehow Andor is able to take all of those notes from all different places, from different characters, all throughout this show, and weave it into a grand symphony that culminates in what we see here in episode 9. It's beautiful, it's heart-wrenching, it's difficult, it's exciting and exhilarating. All of those things wrapped up here in this episode. And this is why today we're talking about Andor winning an Emmy for Best Writing for Welcome to the Rebellion. So when those of us who love to talk about Andor and we say things like this is the best Star Wars since the original trilogy, that's not hyperbole that we're saying just for clicks or to get people to watch the video. This is what we mean. This is what we're talking about, that we don't see TV shows, particularly Star Wars, written, directed, and performed like this. With this mind towards the struggle, with this ability to weave so many character arcs into one story in such a seamless, effortless way that make it all just come together perfectly. And so I hope today you recognize that what has been accomplished by the writing of Andor is extremely rare and should be praised today for what it actually is.